feel like 99.9% of the job of being a creator is trying to come up with ideas on what to create. And I feel like sometimes the ideas are just rolling in, but sometimes I'm literally drawing a freaking blank and I cannot figure out for the life of me what I need to create content about on all the platforms, but also like, how do I distinguish what I'm creating content about on like YouTube and then on my socials and all the things. So in this video, I'm gonna break down how I find ideas for all of my content. So this is YouTube, socials, even blog posts if we wanna do those. And I'm gonna show you kind of the tools I use and the things that I use to make sure that I'm creating things that actually get views, because that's what's important. First of all, hi, howdy, hey, what is up? My name is Jessica. If you're new here, welcome. I'm super pumped that you're here. I talk about being a creator and the creator things and give tips and tricks like this one and all the things here. So if that is you, you are in the right place. So every single week I am releasing content here on YouTube, content on Instagram, and then sometimes I take that short form content from Instagram, also put it on YouTube and TikTok. TikTok is like the least of my worries, but sometimes I do put it there just to see if something will pick up steam. But that's like a lot of content, right? And so what I do first is I come up with my YouTube content, because a lot of times from my YouTube content, I can then trickle that down into social media content. And I mean trickle that down in a way where like, it helps me come up with ideas for social media content, not necessarily in a way where like I just chop out parts of my long video, because that doesn't work, but it does help me come up with ideas. So I think about my YouTube content first. Now here's the thing, I want you to use keywords responsibly, okay? Because with YouTube, if you only focus on keywords and you only focus on what is doing well on the platform in the keyword arena, you are going to kind of put yourself in a box where you're only known for search-driven content. So I want you to listen to me when I say that you should be looking at keywords, and that is what we're going to talk about first, and that is the first thing that I do. However, keywords cannot be the only piece of your strategy specifically on YouTube, because it will kind of niche you down into a box that you don't want to be in. Because the way to really grow on YouTube is to get people who want to come back for your content over and over and over again, and if you're only a search-driven creator, that's not going to happen. But with that being said, I do look at keywords first. And I've actually found a new way to look at keywords, research keywords, collect keywords, all the things for both YouTube and my website. And they are actually the sponsor of today's video, and that is SimilarWeb. SimilarWeb is kind of like an all-in-one marketing toolkit where you can do market research, keyword analysis, even view trending keywords. And the reason that it is knocking my personal socks off is because it breaks down keyword performance by the last like 28 days, and it can spot trending keywords before any other platform that I've ever used, because its buffer time for keyword analysis is only about 72 hours. So you can start to see trending keywords before they actually take off. And if you're out here researching keywords, you know that a certain keyword is actually a good keyword right now and not like 6 months ago or whatever, because it has that like time frame built in. So when I'm looking up keywords to use on YouTube and to plan out my YouTube content, I can just type in the keyword. So in this instance, I'm gonna type in good notes, and I can then see where the traffic for good notes is coming from, who is kind of dominating the space for good notes, and then also other keywords, how they're performing in the last little bit, and then even trending upcoming keywords from those websites that are dominating in that space. And then here's the really powerful part, and this is how I use it to kind of trickle down into the rest of my content and also plan for socials, which we're going to talk about socials in just a minute, but this helps me kind of jumpstart that. And that is that once I kind of have a good look at what keywords that I want to use based on competitors, based on volume, based on current trending keywords, things like that, I can take those keywords and then I can go into ChatGPT and I can say, hey, here are the keywords that I want to use. Here are the things that SimilarWeb has given me to use because they know that these things are going to be good for me. What is the kind of content that I can build around this? And then I can use ChatGPT in conjunction with SimilarWeb to say, okay, these are the types of titles or videos that I want to do, and even break those into short form content. And the reason I love that is because ChatGPT is really personal. It knows me, it knows my people, it knows what I'm doing because I use it all the time. And when I say these are the keywords I want to go after, it can help me come up with content to kind of frame those keywords in the right way. In addition to actually finding keywords with SimilarWeb, you can actually spy on your competitors. So I do still publish blog posts to my blog. You'll notice if you go to heyjessica.com/blog, we have like fairly current blog post there. And basically what happens is if I see that there is a common keyword that I could rank for, again with SimilarWeb, I will go ahead and make a blog post on that. I'll have my team make a blog post because we know how to rank things really well with SEO so that we get that traffic coming in for those keywords. And then that traffic kind of goes other places for me, whether it's to buy something, to my YouTube channel, to my socials, whatever. And a really great way to kind of know what to do there is to spy on your competitors. Let's say, for instance, you are Stan Store. Since I'm wearing their sweatshirt, I feel like that's a good example. Let's say you are Stan Store and you want to spy on the other digital product like marketplace sites like Shopify. You can go in and find the competitors, and then you can also say, okay, what keywords are they ranking for? And what are some trending things that I see going on within this website that I can then kind of hijack their traffic and send people to my site for. So it's a really, really, really freaking powerful tool. And SimilarWeb was really awesome and gave me a discount code, Jessica20, that you can use to get 20% off the monthly subscription for SimilarWeb. And it does apply every single month. Like every month you get 20% off, and that is chef's kiss. So use code Jessica20. I'll put the link to SimilarWeb below in the description. And thank you to SimilarWeb for sponsoring this video and being such an awesome tool to help me figure out keywords for the YouTubes, which helps me figure out everything else too. Now, another way on YouTube specifically that I will find out what kind of content that I want to do is to actually find my competitors on YouTube, okay? Who are the people talking about the things that I want to talk about, and what are they talking about that's doing well? Like that's such a key piece of the YouTube strategy. And by the way, if you're ever wanting to like flip your niche or shift or change in any way, this is a great way to do that because you need to like go find the people who are in the new niche and start positioning your content that way. So let's say that I want to be like a completely just like tech YouTuber and I want to find people who compete in that space. I'm going to go and look for the latest tech, right? Like if I want to be a tech YouTuber, I probably know about the latest tech already. So I can be like, okay, like the Google Pixel 1, that ain't me because I don't do anything but Apple. But let's say I did, right? I'd go look for that and look for channels that have done videos on that. And then from those channels, I will see, okay, in the last like 30 days, in the last 60 days, what of their content has done really well compared to the rest of their content. So like, for instance, if I'm looking at iJustine here, okay, if we look at the last like 12 videos she's done, we can see that she's got like 74,000 views, 50,000 views, 28,000 views, 46,000 views, 32,000 views, 66,000 views. So somewhere between like 25 and 70,000 views is probably her normal range. And so can we find some outliers, right? So right here is an outlier just jumping out to me. It has 144,000 views. So what about that made it an outlier? And can I kind of copy that strategy on my own content? I do not mean copy the content. I don't even want you to watch the content because that might skew what you're gonna do. But could you like emulate the content, right? Can you say, okay, she was talking about all of the new like Mac products. Is this something that was really timely in the moment, or could I try it? Is there something I can do for that now? Etc., etc. I'm gonna use my girl Katie as an example here. So let's say you're wanting to talk to creators and teach people how to become a full-time creator, kind of like the businessy side, if you will. You can go to Katie's channel and same thing. Let's look at her last 12 videos. She's generally getting like 14,000, 10,000, 28,000, 23,000, 17,000. So that seems to be her average. Is there anything over that? Like what can I see in the last 12 videos that has done more than like 23,000 views? And there's two that stick out. This one that's like what no one tells you about vlogging. And then two, this one, if you want to become a full-time creator in 2026, start these habits now. Those two have got views far and above the rest of her content over the last like 12 videos. So can I use those as inspiration to create something similar for me? And again, please know that I do not mean to copy them. Again, when I'm doing this, I don't even watch their content. I am literally just like, okay, that topic stood out. Can I do something like it? And then the last kind of piece of YouTube specifically, but it definitely goes across all of the platforms when I'm planning content, and that is timeliness. Is there something happening right now that I need to like tap into for my industry? And everybody's industry and thing is going to be different. Like, we're getting ready to hit the new year, right? So do I need to be talking about like how to do things in 2026, how to start 2026 off with a bang, how to do XYZ in 2026? Like, what do I need to be talking about in that arena? Like I showed you a second ago with iJustine, like she covers tech. So when Apple drops a shit ton of products, she's probably going to want to talk about them because that is timely. There's a video that I did a few months ago, and let me actually go see exactly when it was. This one right here, should you be using StanStore to sell digital products in 2025? That video was super timely because Steven from Diary of a CEO just bought into StanStore in that moment and was talking about StanStore and digital products. So I knew that alone would have blown up the subject matter, but he also mentioned my channel and showed my channel in one of the videos, and I was able to like go put a comment under the video and be like, that's my channel. And so I knew that I would be getting some people clicking over to my channel from that, but also getting people who would be searching for digital products or whatever from that. And I went ahead and made that video. Now, going back to the sponsor of today's video, SimilarWeb, that's where you could have also seen that. You could have seen that digital products or StanStore would have been a trending keyword coming up inside their software so that you could have seen, hey, this is timely, let's get this done. All right, now let's flip the switch a little bit and talk about how I come up with short form content on other social media platforms. The reason that I start with YouTube is because a lot of times that will give me a shit ton of ideas. I will be like, oh, I'm gonna talk about StanStore or digital products on YouTube, and so, you know, how can I break that down into 15 different short form videos? Or I'm going to talk about my favorite camera gear on YouTube. How can I break that down into a couple different short form videos? So I start there anyway. Again, I will use ChatGPT and be like, hey, this is the YouTube video I'm gonna create. What are 5 different ideas to make into short form pieces of content on this same subject matter? So beyond everything else we're going to talk about, like trends and like what other people are doing and like whatever else, just starting with your long form content in mind and using that to kind of break down your short form content, chef's kiss, you will not go wrong. Now, please understand that I do not mean that you should be chopping up your long form content and putting it in short form content, because that is not what I mean at all. Okay? Because that does not work. Now, I do that on my secondary Instagram that's just for my business. That's because I just want to keep that active and like keep it going, and I don't really care about getting a ton of views or whatever. But if I'm actually trying to get views, that is like the last strategy that I will use, because they just don't do well on any of these platforms. So once I've kind of gotten some ideas from the long form videos or from the long form content that I'm going to do, or from the keyword research that I've done, the next things that I do are, one, I see what things are trending right now on whatever short form platform I'm creating content on. So for me, it's Instagram. And for instance, as I'm filming this video right now, there's this trend going on where it's like sometime in your 20s, you're going to be faced with the decision to move across the country or stay put. You're going to want to move every single time. And it kind of shows that like making that hard decision or doing that thing is what led you to the life you have now. And that is trending with a very specific song, blah, 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 right? So I actually did one of these last night. It's literally like 6 seconds long, not even that maybe. And I'll pop it up right here, but it's basically like, in your 20s, you're going to quit the good company so that you can start your own business and stay at home with your baby. It's very important that you do that. And that got 3,000 views in the first like 12 hours, which is pretty high for me right now on Instagram, because Instagram hates me, but that's a conversation for a different day. So if you see trends happening, or if you're an avid TikToker and you see trends happening over there and you want to bring them over to Instagram, definitely do that. That is definitely a great way to start creating content or to come up with ideas. And the third way that I come up with ideas for short form content is in like series boxes. Everybody knows, we've talked about it 1,000 times, that signature series do well on short form content. So it's like day 1 of me doing X, or, day 25 of whatever, or welcome to part 3 of this, because what it does is eventually one of those will get picked up. And when it does, whether it's in the middle of the series, the end of the series, the first of the series, like whatever, it will actually drive traffic to all of the old parts of the series or all of the new parts of the series, and it kind of just explodes accounts. So what can I create that is part of a series? And very specifically, what can I create that's part of a series that's going to get people coming back over and over and over again to watch this? And generally, this again stems from what does well for me on long platforms like YouTube. I know that editing videos, that tech videos, that gear videos, that little tiny tips and tricks do super well for me already on other platforms. So I can hopefully take those and bottle them up into a series and put them on Instagram. And then, if I want to disperse them on other platforms, I can. Now stick around, because the very last tip I want to give you for short form content is one that applies to all content that you do on short form platforms. And I think it's one that not enough people are like hammering down, but I want to save it for last because retention. So stick around for that one. So last but not least, because that one's the last one, it's definitely not the least one, you want to do exactly the same on short form content that I was talking about with my long form content. Can you go find competitors? Can you go find people who are in your same niche, with your same audience, talking about your same thing, and seeing if there are pieces of content that they've done recently, and recently being the key word, especially with short form content, that has done well and or outperformed any of their other content, and how can you then recreate that in your own way, not copying them, but recreate it in your own way to make it work for you. So if I see this series where she's talking about how she edits, and she's talking about like how she does this and how she does text overlays and how she does voiceovers and things like that, that might be inspiration for me that those things would do well with my audience too. But what I can't do is then go copy exactly what she's done. Like, I'm not the same person as her. I need to make it in my own style and with my own topics that I know my audience is going to care about. And little trick here, I actually have an entire saved folder on Instagram and on TikTok, I think, where I save content ideas as like content inspiration. So when I'm sitting down to think through the pieces of content that I'm going to create for the month or the week or the whatever, I can go back to that and say, oh yeah, I wanted to do that. I wanted to do something similar to that. And I can do that. Okay, are y'all ready for the super secret tip? With short form content, the content that wins is shareable, savable content. Come back to it. And people definitely share and save for all kinds of different reasons, but if you can create content that makes them want to save it or share it for future reference, or because they feel seen, like they want to send it to a friend because they feel seen, you are going to win every single time. The other day I did this Instagram reel, and it literally is just like a minute of me talking about how I found this terminal action on my Mac that allows me to like caffeinate my Mac so it'll stay awake while something is uploading overnight and I don't have to like babysit my computer. And I felt like if this was a problem that I have, that other people would have it. So let me show them this solution. And it had the most saves and shares and tags of any post that I've had in a really long time. And did it have amazing views? Absolutely not. But did it have more views in the first 24 hours than some of my other content? Yes. So if you can find a format that taps into exactly what your people want to save and share and identify with, then you are going to kill the game when it comes to short form content. So when it comes to ideas, when you're looking through trends, when you're looking through other people's content, when you're looking at your long form pieces of content and the keywords that you're using there that are going to trickle down, and you're listening to ChatGPT about some ideas, think about how you can make that savable and shareable and make it something that people actually care about and want to come back to, because that's where you're going to win. Okay, we are done. My whole family left to go to basketball practice while I was filming this. And I actually have several short form pieces of content that I need to film while they're gone. But If you want to get into the nitty-gritty of researching your competitors, looking up keywords, finding trending keywords, seeing if keywords are actually relevant right now and not just like 6 months ago, definitely try out SimilarWeb. Again, the code to get 20% off monthly is Jessica20, and I put the link to try SimilarWeb below in the description. And let me know if you try out any of these tips and tricks and if they work for you and help you get out of your idea rut, because I totally know how that is. And I'm in an idea rut all the time, and these are the proven steps that I use to get out of it and actually come up with ideas. All right, peace out, Girl Scout. Bye.